Hello, friends, and welcome to Activate and Thrive and to our weekly Thriving Thursday chat, where we chat with different, beautiful, health-minded people about many aspects of health, thriving, and we hold these every Thursday at noon East Coast US time. And we're here right now live on Facebook. And also we share these to YouTube and to Instagram. So whether you're watching live or you're checking this out later, we're so happy to have you with us today. My name's Dawn.
And I'm Mia. And our guest today is Kerry O'Brien. So Kerry is a certified financial planner professional. She's an enrolled agent with the IRS and a founder of BeingFIT Financial. She's just passionate about financial planning and going beyond the numbers, to really help people live the life that they want to live. And at BeingFIT, she's created an opportunity for people of all stages of wealth to just receive unbiased, holistic advice. Her mission is to help people gain and maintain optimal financial health and to support living with overall wellness and intention. And she has, before creating BeingFIT, she's worked and spent over 15 years working for financial institutions, firms, specializing in retirement and investments and estates, insurance, business, employee benefits, tax. So she's served as financial planning consultant to many organizations and just thousands of individuals. And she's really helped develop optimal strategies. And she has such integrity. I can verify that. She's provided financial education and consulting to so many people. I could go on and on about her business resume, but she's also a wellness advocate and loves meeting new people and learning just about where they are with their financial stories and also their fitness journeys. And when she's not busy doing what she does professionally, you'll probably find her spending time with her daughter at the hockey rink, camping, lifting weights, or practicing yoga. So Kerry, welcome. We are so happy to have you with us today. And can you just start by just sharing with our audience how you got started on this journey?
Sure. And thank you so much, Mia and Dawn, for having me here today. I just love your passion and your energy for helping others with their health and with creating opportunities for themselves. So appreciate what you do. And I appreciate you having me on today. So thank you. And very happy to share my journey because it wasn't a straightforward path to get into financial services. As a child, as a student, I did have an aptitude for math and problem solving and things like that. But I did wind up studying some psychology and sociology. But what I didn't do at the time was study finance. So I had an amazing education, a lot of knowledge, but not really in the area of finance. And then I found myself in my 20s really attending to a lot of different areas of wellness that we love to do, like meditation, working out, eating healthy, being social, being out in nature, all of those things. I lived at the beach in Southern California. I was very happy and very healthy in all of those areas. However, financially, I was living paycheck to paycheck. I didn't have an emergency fund. So when my job was very variable and seasonable, when things didn't really go right, things didn't really go right with my money either. And I made some mistakes and I got behind on some payments and, hurt my credit, for example. A lot of that. And it's amazing that you can have such a strong education and background, but be missing that financial piece. So then fast forward, I approached 30 and I looked around me and I saw some of my friends, having more opportunities than me as they grew their wealth. So I made a change and I got into finance. And, like you said in my bio, I've been doing finance for over 15 years. And somewhere along that journey, I became stressed. I forgot all of the behaviors of eating well and working out and living in the moment, being present. And that really affected my health, socially, emotionally, physically. My energy was down, but there was money in my bank account and I was doing all the right things financially. So I got to the point where, it doesn't have to be this way. It happened to me. It must be happening to a lot of other people. So that's really the story of how I founded BeingFIT Financial, so that I can help people, with my expertise in the money side, and my passion for the wellness side, really help people make sure that they are attending and filling up all of those buckets, because if they're not filling up any one of them, it affects all the other ones. And not filling up the financial bucket can really negatively impact, wellness in so many different areas.
Oh, absolutely. That stress, it affects us on a cellular level. And, we all want to live a life of, shall we say, financial well-being, financial freedom, so we have the choices to do the things that we want to do. But how do you advise your clients, in gaining that financial health and well-being?
Yeah, well, it really starts with clarity and awareness. And clarity and awareness, not only in the numbers, in our cash flow, how much we earn, how much we save, how much we spend, but also clarity in our mindset. It takes a very strong and diligent mindset to really grow and build wealth. And oftentimes, people may not even be aware that they could have some money scripts that are shaping their money scripts that they learned as a child that may be shaping their behavior today. So that's always the first step, is achieving that financial clarity. And sometimes people come to me and they've already done that step, and that's fine. And we can start to focus on the more analytical side, but sometimes it does involve uncovering some of those beliefs and scripts and seeing what can be changed or altered to eventually, help impact positively their financial health.
I'm very interested in the money scripts idea. That fascinated me, and I think I know exactly what you mean. We grow up with these, oh well, we're gonna look at our budget spreadsheet or whatever, and that's what we're dealing with. We put our blinders on. But can you give an example of some of the money scripts that you have seen that have held people back? And I think we should all take note and try to get rid of that script.
Sure. Yeah, I really focus on these four that were defined by Dr. Brad Klontz, which I'm happy to share a resource from him. But avoidance, worship, status, and vigilance. And I'll talk about avoidance, for example, because that was something that I realized that I had. As a young person, I didn't believe that money bought happiness. And I just didn't really know enough about money and finances. So I just didn't attend to it. And not attending to it is not going to, we're not going to wind up with the outcome that we want by not attending to it. Uh-huh. So avoidance, worship, status, and diligence.
Wow. Yes. And that's the thing. We don't want to worship money, but money, sometimes I think, especially maybe if we grew up around the time that we did, it has a negative connotation to it sometimes. It's like money doesn't buy happiness, right? Yeah. And it doesn't buy happiness, but it buys freedom of choice. So in a way, it does buy happiness because we're being true to the things that are important to us. And if we can't do those things, yes, we can walk out in nature. That doesn't cost anything to just go out and walk and enjoy nature. There are things that don't cost money, but to really live the life that we desire to live, to do the things that are important to us, we have to be living from a place of financial well-being. Yes. Mm-hmm.
Exactly. And that's where I've evolved to. And I talk to people about that too. And that is the case. Not only money doesn't buy happiness, but money buys you the opportunity to have experiences. And it's, studies show it's the experiences that really drive our joy and drive our happiness, not necessarily the things. I mean, money buys things too, but money buys experiences for one. And then it also buys the opportunity to help serve other people, right? because we all have our unique gifts that we can, give to the world, and having financial support behind us just enables us to give more.
Yeah, absolutely.
I have to confess, I'm still a little bit caught up on the money scripts from a moment ago. So you talked about avoidance, worship, status, and diligence. You went into avoidance a little bit, but can you just each of the other three just very quickly, because worship, I guess I get the status one. Diligence, to talk about these, like worshiping money, you mean?
Yeah, just worshiping money, having that be the main focus. And you see that a lot with very career-oriented people. It's work. I want to get that promotion. I want to get that high bonus. And it just becomes overwhelming, and that becomes the focus. And sometimes there's not a connection to what is achieved by that money. And it just becomes more about accumulation and earning, really.
That makes sense. And status, I think we can all get, we're looking to have a certain status in the world, and we think money is what that status is. Is that kind of in a nutshell?
It is. And it's that money, I will say it this way, money does not equal self-worth. Net worth does not equal self-worth. That's one of the first things that I talk to people, because one of the first steps in financial planning is creating the balance sheet. And that's always a conversation that I have. And I find that people avoid sitting down with financial professionals or even doing it on their own because they're afraid of what that number is, because they associate self-worth with net worth. So that's definitely, something I help people try to change their mindset on.
Well, that's just incredible. Net worth does not equal self-worth. Just to put it so succinctly like that, it really is arresting. And diligence.
It actually, vigilance. I may have
vigilance
spoke before. Yeah.
Vigilance. Okay.
So that's really a couple things. Sometimes people that have that story tend to be more private with their money. And I'm sure you've seen that a lot too, like, ooh, money's taboo. I shouldn't talk about money with my friends or even my family. And then also, not wanting to spend on themselves, that can be part of that script too. And that's something I always, as it relates to health, particularly with women, Mia, is that, we tend to put other people first, our families and stuff first. And we know how important self-care is, and working with people and ensuring that, it is okay that some of those resources go towards yourself to take care of yourself as it relates to your health and wellness. Whatever it is that, you enjoy doing or supports you, massages, any type of energy work or things like that.
Yes, absolutely. Self-care is key to being able to take care of others, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Oh, that's so good.
Well, so yeah, absolutely. I've got plenty to ask about. I think one of the questions I was going to ask, but I think you're really answering it kind of organically here, is what do you mean by holistic in regards to financial health? But I really think we're getting that. So I might ask, let's see, I'm just going to look up here because there was something that, so supporting living with overall wellness and intention, just this bigger picture you have about financial health. I've got to assume there aren't a lot of financial planners who are really thinking in this holistic, and I think we can spell that WHOLE and HOLIS, holistic in both senses, but not many are working along these lines. Would you say that you're a pioneer in this, that virtually nobody else is? Are there a number of financial planners working with the whole being, including the health aspect?
Yes, I'm definitely not alone. I would still say it's a smaller portion than I would like to see, but it's definitely a growing field. You may have heard the terms financial life planning. That's been around, a while. It was founded by this gentleman, George Kinder. There's a lot more people embracing that aspect of it. And that's really about, having the conversations about what you want out of life before even looking at, the balance sheet and the income and the expenses, because Sometimes you can get lost in that if you're just looking at the numbers, because what does it all mean? I mean, you could have so much money in the bank, but if it's not, encouraging you or enabling you to live the life that you want, what makes you happy, then it doesn't really mean anything, does it?
Yeah, it's like seeing the forest for the trees, or in my profession, which is classical music, the players in the orchestra do not have the picture that the conductor has. The conductor has the whole overview of where you're going, and you just have to trust that and not assume that you know more, because you're not seeing the big picture. So that kind of just reminds me of that. And I also want to ask, what kinds of impacts have you observed in clients when you take this holistic approach that ties in their overall well-being, versus the conventional approach? I don't know if you ever had a conventional approach that you could see the difference between that and what you are doing, or if you just see from others. So what kinds of impacts on clients with this approach?
Sure. One thing would be just in looking at their cash flow, and understanding and looking at the difference between a traditional budget, for example, and a spending plan. And I mean, I just said the word budget. Most people, they hear the word and they're just like, oh, like it feels yucky. It feels restrictive. It feels hard because it's, fitting things into a category that happened yesterday. Budgeting is very backward looking, and it's almost like setting yourself up to fail because things aren't going to happen the way they did in the past. And we don't want to live in the past either, right? So really thinking about cash flow more of as a spending plan. And if you've done the work of identifying what is important to you in life, and then you look at what your resources are, and then you just you stop letting the resources go to the things that don't fill up the happy bucket, the good bucket, the good things that make you feel good. And it's just a different mindset of looking at resources. And it's easier to, not spend on the things that don't matter to you once you've actually identified them. And then you tend to just have more to go towards the good stuff.
Well, the great thing about what you're saying there, budget versus spending plans, sometimes the very words we use either open up our minds or close them, right? And I mean, Mia knows very well, I am a big fan of my monthly budget spreadsheets. I'm going to start calling them the spending plan. First of all, spending right there, that opens up a world. Budget, you're right. It's like, right, closed in. So I'm commenting that I really love that concept. It's the words we use are going to impact our mindset.
Well, here's one more for you, though. Replace savings with spending for the future.
Oh, that. I absolutely love that. We get so overwhelmed, sometimes, thinking about, okay, so even with what we've all been navigating this last year and a half, maybe the question to ask ourselves is, are we impervious to market fluctuations, to the next recession? Have we prepared properly for that? And if we haven't, what can we do to be in a better place the next time it happens? Because it probably will. And so then the question to me is, how do you advise people, how do you advise people to prepare for that next, unexpected turn in the financial economy?
It really is preparing the mind for it and understanding how the economy and things can happen in life and allowing yourself grace when they don't go your way. But that's where a lot of the planning comes in, the emergency fund, having an investment strategy that is aligned with your specific goals and knowing that it's not going to be a straight path to the end. It's going to be up and down. But preparing for that can help take the emotion out of it so that when there are, cycles and up and down and scary moments, it's like, okay, wait a minute. It's okay. Like I knew this was going to happen. I planned for it. It's not going to, impact my goals down the line because I have a strategy and a plan.
Yeah, it's really building that portfolio, that plan B or that asset, and how we can prepare for those things that we don't expect to happen. That's part of what we're involved with what we do as well. It's all, yes, if you don't have your health, it stops everything. But also if you have financial stress, that's also, going to impact your health. So we want to be able to plan for those things. It's so beautiful how you've incorporated both of those concepts of being fit, physically, emotionally, mentally, holistically, and also just optimizing the financial plan as well.
Thank you. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Well, I just think, like, again, with these just slight changes of terminology, the mindset changes that we mentioned. And again, have you seen like obvious changes with clients when you start shifting them away from the old limited mindset? What can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah, because it really does open, once they see that what is possible, because sometimes people don't even know they come to me and they don't even know what is possible. And so it's being able to see that and understanding, investing and saving and the impact of that and what it can do to their future. It just makes it a lot more fun having that visual. Like if even my daughter, when I was trying to teach her how to save, it wasn't working well until we actually created a visual of what it is that it's going to afford her in the future. So it's having that picture, creating that picture, having that vision. It makes it a lot easier to make those financial choices, especially, when emotions come up, or if you're scrolling on social media and you're seeing all these things and people posting all these things, and, being able to go back and look at this 1-page summary of all your goals, all your values, and what you're working for. Oh, okay, well, that's not on there, so I'm not going to waste my resources on that. This is what I want.
Yeah, creating those vision boards are key to that. Do you do that with her? Has she ever created a vision board?
Yes, we do one together. We do. Mm-hmm.
It's very important to write those goals down and then see them and look at them, so that that imprint of that reality of how to make it real is living with you on a day-to-day basis. That consistency, that's beautiful.
So when you said you were teaching her how to save, you meant how to spend for the future, right? See, I'm a good student. I'm a good student, right? I'm learning.
Yep. That's her spending for the future. She's, a couple years away from getting her driver's license, but she's already thinking about, having being able to buy a car. So, yeah.
Right.
That's great.
So often in the various subjects we cover about health and thriving in these chats, towards the end, which we're getting there right now, because we like to respect people's time, whether it's morning or lunchtime or whatever it is for people. I like to ask, okay, someone's like, this resonates with me. I'd really like to expand my sense of my finances to my overall well-being, and not just, how can I make more money or how can I plan better? What's one small step someone could take to just in that direction? Apart from just going to Kerry's website, beingfitfinancial.com, and booking an appointment with her, well, what's one simple thing somebody could do to say, what, this is how I'm going to start changing my mindset about my finances?
Sure. Since you did mention my website, I'll say there is a link to a small quiz that they could take that can help give them an idea of where they fall in different factors that support building wealth. So they could do that. Another thing I would say is just to journal. Think about what their earliest money memories are, and just sit with that and see if perhaps that is impacting their decisions today. And then definitely, avoidance, it's not going to get better if you keep avoiding it. So having some clarity and awareness of what's going on is really the first step.
So please go ahead.
And just knowing that we all are deserving of an abundant lifestyle, right? Of an abundant life, and just really, it's about the neuro tools, right? It's about how we are thinking about things on a daily basis, how we wake up and think about how our day's going to go, and being in that flow of just knowing that we're attracting abundance, we're giving, it's beautiful.
And the thing about journaling, so I can imagine if someone journals like their past just financial life, their how they started thinking about money early on, and you write it down and see it, you can probably start to see things you don't like and want to distance yourself from.
Definitely.
Yeah.
Well, are there any last remarks that you would like to leave our audience with, just about how they can, live a more abundant life so that they can do the things that are really important to them?
Yeah, I would just say that the financial world and advice model has been evolving in a really positive way. And there are plenty of resources, paid and free, out there to help support you wherever you are in your journey. Please don't, if you're feeling money stress, please don't wait and think that it's just going to clear itself up on its own, and then you'll go see a professional. There is someone that can help you now and get you to where you want to be faster.
Oh, that's great. That's a perfect way to bring this to a close. I always like to say we never like to close, but we do reach the point where we have to. So we'd like to both again mention Kerry's website, beingfitfinancial.com. Again, beingfitfinancial.com. And as she said, there's a quiz there you can take to just get a sense of where you stand. And also, we just like to share that Mia and I here at Activate and Thrive, we reached a point where we opened up our mindset about the possibilities of making life freer. For us, it's been coming in the form of leveraged income, and with a beautiful business opportunity that we are involved in the health and wellness space, where we share a technology that involves bringing special benefits to our health on a cellular level, and that's in turn helped us to kind of open up our financial world from getting our minds out of the kind of daily grind mentality. How am I going to make a buck kind of thing? So if anybody would like to ask us about what we're doing and how we got there, we'd be happy to engage with you. Just drop something in the chat or in the comments. And again, feel free to visit Kerry's website, beingfitfinancial.com. So Kerry O'Brien, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been invaluable to get your expertise and insights into financial health on a much bigger level than we often think about it. And friends, we hold these chats every Thursday at noon East Coast US time. You can look for us right on the live on Facebook or on YouTube and Instagram, posted later. Thank you so much for joining us today. And Kerry, thank you again.
Thank you, friends. Thank you, Kerry.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye.